So, the original version of this video got copyright claimed by some random company because I included too much footage. Weird because my review of Brazil got no copyright claims, even though it's a Disney film technically. So, what the hell is that about? But, anyways, copyright idioticness aside, uh, I'm re uploading this. I'm taking out the original intro and replacing it with this. Basically, I thought that the first 2x2 movie was pretty good, and then I saw the second one out of interest, and I think it's a pretty great, not great, but pretty good movie as well. So I'm going to talk about that. So the movie follows the characters from the first film, Finney and Leia, who have been on the Ark with their parents for about 147 days. I think I didn't tell you that the movie did, and once again they get overboard, which I don't get the title of this film because it's called 2x2 Overboard, not Overboss. I don't know what the hell is going on with this title, but they did they not get overboard in the first film? I mean, I know they weren't on the Ark when it left, but they were still overboard technically. If you're looking at the first, I'm looking too deep into the 2x2 lore mythology. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. Anyways, so they go overboard, and then they go overboard again while on this raft. So double overboard. See, now I know why it's called 2x2 because it's actually no, it should be called 1x1. One overboard by another overboard, then the double overboard because of that storm there. That was perfect timing. Thanks God. They get stranded on an island, and Finney finds this colony full of his own kind that he has never known about. And I'll explain why I think this is good storytelling and a good way to develop on the first film later on. But for now, so this colony is run by this old woman named Patch. She is called this because, as you can see, she has a patch on her eye because she was attacked a long time ago and does not like any other animals. So she hides away with other Nestrians away from the world. And every time they hear something bad happen, she denies this as she wants to live in the perfect colony, away from all the world's troubles. So yeah, that kind of story. Meanwhile, all the other animals arrive on the Ark, from the Ark arrive on the island, and they all have to try to escape immediately once the threat of a volcano arises. So Finny has to try and escape. Finny has to try and save Leia, and their parents have to try and save the two of them, and save all the animals from the Ark and all the Nestrians from being destroyed by the volcano. So, unlike the first film, it has actually more stakes. I mean, it's not like the first one didn't have any stakes. I mean, you could have cooked some of the animals and made steaks, but there's more stakes in this. I don't know if they'd be tastier, but aside from those steaks, I think these steaks are a lot bigger. It's a lot more intense than the first. The first film, the main problem I have with this is that it wasn't very intense. There was definitely a lot of intense moments for kids, but for me, as a teen, I do not find these moments to be intense because I just find it to be very, very underwhelming. They just have to get back on the Ark, and that's fine. All of the other animals are on the Ark, so there's no trouble. It's just the four of them, and trying to get back on the Ark, also trying to avoid these bad things. If you've seen the first, you should probably know, even though I don't know that many people who've seen either of these movies, because unlike me, they actually have a life. So that took a long time explaining the plot, but yeah. So one thing I like about this movie, aside from the fact that it's very intense, is that the plot is actually a little bit better than the first. It does the things a sequel should do. It develops on the story of the original by adding a lot more to the fact that Finney and his dad are the only Nestrians in the world, essentially. But there's this brand new colony that was never mentioned. Now, usually, if you just add a new thing that was never mentioned in the first, then it would usually ruin everything. But it actually works in the movie's favor because they didn't know about this. No one knew about it, except for the Nestrians that were actually here. And I think that's a really good storytelling for a kids' film released in 2021 or 2022. or 2020. One of those 3 years it was released. Probably 2021. But I put in 2022 because I don't know. Another thing I think that is I should praise is the animation, which I think is definitely on par with the original. I mean, I think there are a few moments that are shakier, but I think it's more focused on slapstick and physical humor than the first, which was definitely a lot more of a generic style of animation. Thankfully, the film's mean-spirited tone from the original is still here. I also think that the backgrounds and stuff look cool, like the volcano eruption at the end, as you saw previously in the video, actually looks pretty cool, and the background still the movie's still appealing to look at, even if Leia and her mum look pretty weird standing up. I don't know, it just freaked me out the first time I saw it in this and the original. So yeah. However, there is one thing I can think of that is a disimprovement from the first, and that is the humor. The reason the main reason why I like the first one so much, outside of the animation, was the comedy, which was mainly built upon mean-spirited humor and video game references that caught me off guard. It subverted my expectations of how this film would go. I was expecting it to not be very good, but it definitely blew up my expectations by actually being okay. Just a really good movie. Decent, even. But what I really don't like about this film, the main thing I don't like, is that the humor is a lot more immature and potty-based. Not really potty-based, but no, it wasn't very funny. There are definitely a few good jokes, like the thing with the dove multiple times in the film. But honestly, I prefer a lot more of the mean-spirited jokes from the first film. Anyway, another thing about this film are the characters. A lot of characters. There's a lot of new characters in this movie, like the Nestrians and the Jelly. A jellyfish named Jelly.
Okay, something just happened. This is BBC One. We are experiencing some text.
All their money,
There we go.
all their budgeting, all their voice acting, everything to make a name for the jellyfish, and they named her. Get this, Jelly. I mean, golly, I would have known that. No, I never would have known that it was called Jelly. She was called Jelly. A jellyfish named Jelly. That is next level naming. It's like calling the main character in Scratch Squirrel, or naming all the main characters in the back guys after the end. Okay, bad example, but still, that is such uncreative naming. I mean, I'm sure that's probably the names that the writers wrote from the kids' perspective, as they don't know what to name the jellyfish, and they just think of the first thing out the top of their heads. Like, if you saw a jellyfish and you would make it a pet, what is the first thing that you would name it if you were like 2? Maybe, who would think? The first thing that pops in your mind, Jelly. Perfect name for a 2-year-old, but I'm not 2. I'm more than 2. I'm not even 3. I'm more than 3 and I'm more than 4, but I'm definitely less than 18. Try and get my age in the comments. Just kidding, don't. I do not want my private life disturbed because... Anyway. Yeah, there's also all the Nestrian characters like Patch and Clyde. I'm sorry, Chief Clyde, as he wants to be named throughout the film. Now there is a thing that I thought the film was gonna go towards. You see, during the volcano sequence, the Nestrian place is flooded, and Patch looks like she dies. And I genuinely thought they were gonna go that route by having her die, and that would have made me look this film a lot differently than just a generic kids film. But lo and behold, Jelly just happened to be a character in this, and because of her tentacles and how jellyfish work, of course, Patrick brought back to life, because you can't have maturity in a generic kids animated movie because. Huh. So basically, yeah, it tricked me into thinking that she was gonna die, which that shouldn't be a bad thing, but I just didn't really like the fact that they tricked me, and that made me feel a lot more, lot less mature than I actually am. Again, I watched films like Four Lions, and that's a lot more mature comedy than this. A film about four jihad, four jihadists in Sheffield. So, God, what the hell is wrong with me? But overall, those are my thoughts of the film. Honestly, I like it more than the first. Sure, the humor is a lot less funny, and the plot is still in some parts generic about the whole colony thing. Like Ants did that better. But I feel like there are a few things I think that are done better than the first. Like the animation is very appealing to look at. The climax is a lot more intense and actually has things going on instead of just get to the arc, bada bing, bada boom. There's uh, there's character development and things that come back at the end of the film. And I think that some parts of the story are done well, and some bits made me laugh. Like all the slapstick and like all the physical humor and the mean spirited tone that really give this film an edge. Not too big of an edge, but just enough of an edge. I think that this stands out from other kids' films just a little bit. I give it a 7.5, and I know that you probably won't find it that interesting because it's a generic animated film, but that's fine if you do. I don't really care. Now, if you excuse me, I'm still going through the situation with the government of the world who think that I'm a racist because I made bad accents of them in the YouTube video, which that's going to take a little while to get fixed. So yeah, I'll see you when I get that done, which will probably be a few weeks. Why do I do this?
Great camera work there, old me, or should I say young me. That was not good. Yeah, so apparently I forgot a few things that I did in the video, like I mentioned the stuff that was on camera, which I don't know why I did that, because it didn't really matter anyway, because I knew that was going to be copyrighted in the get-go, because copyright system sucks, and if you want to learn about that, then watch my video about YouTube, except it's in different languages, because I thought it'd be a little bit experimental, but I'm just lazy and did not decide to change the put on subtitles. I haven't written subtitles, and I haven't even put any language descriptions in the description. So I'm lazy. What can I do about it? But yeah, I think this movie is good. The humor is a bit off sometimes, and the story can be a little bit predictable, but it does go in different ways. The animation is still as great as ever, and sometimes there can be a good joke here or there. But I still think that's better than the original in some ways, because it does more with its plot and it feels more unique than the first. The first film felt more generic. So yeah, those are my thoughts of the 2x2 Overboard movie, and this recording was from earlier in time, so I've gotten out of the situation with the governments. But yeah, so that's what time can do. It can save you from a lot of bad things. Except from the crippling depression of getting older, and once you get old enough, then you have no one in your life, and then you'll be lonely for the rest of time. Anyways, this doesn't matter. I feel fine.